The cow who wanted ice cream. On the soft, breezy edge of Sunny Meadow Farm lived a cow named Coco, whose curiosity was as bright as the bell on her collar. While the other cows spent their afternoons chewing cud and swishing flies, Coco preferred to count clouds, ask questions, and stare through the fence at the distant city that glimmered like a bowl of sugar crystals. One warm morning, Coco watched a delivery truck rumble by. On its side, painted in cheerful colors, were towers of swirled ice cream. Pink, brown, mint green, and a mysterious blue. The picture looked cold enough to make her whiskers tingle. Ice cream? Coco murmured, testing the words like a new blade of grass. What does it feel like on the tongue? Does it crunch? Does it sing? Why is some of it green? Questions! Questions! Clucked Berta, the chicken, who took pride in knowing everything that happened within pecking distance, fluffed her feathers. It's sweet, she said, and cold, and you need money to buy it! Money? Coco blinked. I have grass. Grass is excellent! Who wouldn't want grass? People, Cluckberta replied, pecking the ground. People want money! She paused, then added, and sprinkles. Coco looked again at the city the bright awnings, the colorful signs. The sparkling window sand felt a tug inside her chest. It was curiosity, strong enough to make her hooves itchy. I simply must try it, she decided. But how? Professor Bleat, an elderly goat with spectacles forever sliding down his nose, overheard and ambled over. Every quest begins with a plan, he said, as if he were reading from an invisible book. He nudged his glasses up and offered them to Coco. Take these! They'll help you look like you belong. Coco balanced the glasses on her broad nose and stared at her reflection in the water trough. She looked like a scholar who knew all the answers to questions no one had asked yet. Perfect! She said. I'm ready to learn! She tiptoed well, as much as a cow can tiptoe down the lane to the bus stop. When the city bus sighed to a halt, the doors folded open like the pages of a book. The driver stared. Coco stared back through the sliding glasses. The driver said. Are you a cow? Coco cleared her throat. I am a student, she announced, with a mild coal. She sniffled for effect. The bell on her collar chimed politely. The driver tried not to smile. $2. Coco, proud of her preparation, set a neat bundle of fresh grass on the fare counter. Top quality salad, she said, groaned this very morning. The driver glanced at the grass, then at Coco's hopeful eyes. Tell you what, he said, scooping the grass into a cup as if it were payment from another world. First ride's on me. Student with a cold. The bus rolled through fields that gave way to sidewalks, fence posts that became lampposts, and birds that turned into billboards with enormous smiling faces. The city rose in front of Coco like a stack of colorful boxers. Everywhere, there were people and pets, scooters and strollers, whistles and footsteps and laughter. The air smelled like hot pavement and cinnamon and something delightfully chilly. When the bus sighed open again, Coco stepped onto the sidewalk and lifted her nose. There in the middle of the street, as proud as a palace stood Mr. Sprinkle's ice cream shop. The windows were painted with dancing cones. A sign above the door read, Today's special mystery scoop. Mystery, Coco whispered. My favorite flavor. The bell above the door jingled as she entered. The shop was cool and bright, with a glass counter full of colors that seemed to hum with happiness. Behind it stood Mr. Sprinkle, a man with a striped apron and a smile that reached his eyes. Welcome, he said. Then he took in Coco's size, Coco's glasses, and Coco's bell. Oh, and welcome, especially. I would like one ice cream. Please, Coco said, trying to sound confident and city-wise. I will pay with grass.
Mr. Sprinkle blinked, then chuckled. We take money, I'm afraid.
Coco's ears drooped. I haven't any. Well, Mr. Sprinkle said, tapping the counter thoughtfully. We do pay in scoops for helping hands. Or helping hooves. I need deliveries taken to the park and the library. Think you can manage a tray? Coco's curiosity brightened like a fresh sunrise. Absolutely, she said. I'm excellent at balancing. What? She lowered her head as Mr. Sprinkle arranged cones on a tray and set the tray atop her broad, steady skull between her horns. Coco took a careful step. The cones wobbled. She took another, slower step, and the tray settled as if it had always lived there. The bell on her collar gave an approving jingle. Perfect, said Mr. Sprinkle. Do a few runs for me and you'll earn your scoops in no time. Coco pushed the door open with her shoulder and stepped into the city with her tray of fragile towers. People turned. Children pointed. A toddler squealed with delight. The sidewalk was a river of footsteps, but Coco found her rhythm. 1, 2, steady-shoed. 3, 4, door to door. The glasses slid down her nose. She wriggled her ears to nudge them back up. She wove through the crowd, a patient ship among bright umbrellas. At the playground, she delivered chocolate cones to twins in matching hats. At the library, she tip-hoofed between shelves and presented strawberry to a librarian who whispered, "Marvelous balance." At the fire station, she offered vanilla to a crew polishing a bright red engine. What's your major? Student? A firefighter joked, handing Coco a napkin. Cones and curiosity. Coco replied gravely. The firefighters laughed, and Coco's heart warmed, as if laughter were its own kind of sunshine. Each delivery earned a stub small tickets that Mr. Sprinkle exchanged for scoops. After the first round, Coco returned to the shop with an empty tray and a face full of questions. Choose your flavor, Mr. Sprinkle said, gesturing grandly to the case. Coco scanned the labels. Vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, mango, mint and tucked. At the end, mystery. Her eyes sparkled. Mystery! Please! Mr. Sprinkle scooped and set a neat curl of cloud blue ice cream into a cup. Coco took a cautious lick. The cold exploded into sweetness, the sweetness into something buttery and bright. It tastes like blueberry pancakes, Coco said, amazed, wearing sunglasses. That would be blueberry pancake. Cool, Mr. Sprinkle said, delighted. One of my best. Coco savored her scoop, then set down the cup with determination. More deliveries? More deliveries?
Mr. Sprinkle confirmed.
Afternoon tilted forward, and Coco learned to read the city the way she read clouds. She learned that dogs preferred vanilla when they were tired and chasing their tails when they were in tea. She learned that librarians smiled with their eyes. She learned the sound of wheels on pavement and the silent swoop of a napkin, rescuing a drip before it fell. She asked small questions and big ones, and wrote the answers in her mind, where the pages turned themselves. Then came the gust of wind. It was playful at first, just a tease, flipping the corner of the order list that Mr. Sprinkle had tucked under a sugar jar. But the gust grew bolder, slipped under the paper, and whisked the list into the air. Coco lunged, but the door chimed at that exact moment, and 2 customers arrived laughing. And by the time she reached the sidewalk, the list was only a white bird fluttering out of reach. She stood there, the city humming around her, the tray waiting on the counter, and felt panic nibble at the edges of her confidence. The park order large as a picnic, and twice as particular was due in 20 minutes. 5 vanilla, 5 chocolate, 5 mango, and the last 5, mint mystery. Her mind, usually as tidy as a row of fence posts, felt suddenly like a pasture in a storm. Think, she told herself. Think like a scholar. She closed her eyes and replayed the day. The twins in matching hats chocolate. Always chocolate. The soccer kids at the park, grass-stained and grinning for energy, they'd said, kicking the ball between the benches. The grandpa with the joke book who claimed mint kept him sharp as a tack. She could hear his chuckle now, could see the glint in his eye as clearly as the reflection of the city in the shop window. Mango, she whispered. Chocolate. Mint.
Coco opened her eyes.
Certainty, small but sturdy, settled in her chest. 5 mint,
She told Mr. Sprinkle, her voice steady. It was mint.
He studied her face, then nodded. Mint it is. They packed the tray together. Cones aligned, napkins folded, spoons tucked. Coco stepped into the afternoon, the sun leaning west, the park bells chiming across the square. Children cheered when she arrived. The twins clapped. The soccer ball thumped to a stop beside her hoof. The grandpa with the joke book tipped his hat. Mint, he cried. Sharp as ever, relief whooshed through Coco like a fresh breeze through the barn door. She delivered the last cone, and someone started a slow chant of Coco. Coco? That rolled through the park like laughter. She bowed her head, the bell on her collar jingling like applause. Back at the shop, Mr. Sprinkle rested his elbows on the counter and smiled. You've been a wonder today, he said. Curious, brave, careful. I have one last challenge for you if
You're willing.
Coco straightened. I'm always willing.
Create a new flavor, he said, tapping the glass case.
Something the city hasn't tasted yet. If customers love it, there's a special prize. A new question sparked in Coco's eyes. What does curiosity taste like? She washed her hooves, tied on a small apron that barely reached around her middle, and stepped into the back room. The air was cool and sweet, and metal bowls gleamed on the counter. Coco thought of the Datha giggles, the cheers, the questions that had bounced between people like bright rubber balls.
She began with a scoop of blueberry pancake cool, because the morning had felt like clean sky.
She folded in ribbons of mango, because the soccer kids had given the city a zippy kick. She added a whisper of mint, sharp and clever, for the grandpa and his joke book. Then she hesitated. Something was missing, something that made the city shimmer and the answers feel exciting. She looked toward the shop floor where children clustered against the glass, pressing their noses into oval fogs. Questions, she realized. Questions made everything brighter. Coco took a jar of sugar crystals that caught the light and a bottle of a special syrup Mr. Sprinkle saved for celebrations. She mixed them into the swirl and whispered, "This is for questions." The syrup made the ice cream shimmer faintly, as if it could hear. They called it Color Question Crunch. The first scoop went to a boy with a thoughtful frown and a loose shoelace. He asked, "Why do clouds float?" And the ice cream turned a curious shade of purple. His eyes widened. A girl tried a spoonful and made a silly face. The scoop glowed gold for laughter. Each question bent the light a little, and the flavor seemed to tilt and sparkle differently. 2 still blueberry and mango, still mint at the finish. But also something surprising, like the first cold step into a stream. Within 10 minutes, the tray was empty. The shop's bell jingled constantly. The door breathed in and out like a happy lung. Mr. Sprinkle set down the last empty tub and clapped his hands. A triumph, he declared. He lifted a small velvet-lined box from beneath the counter and snapped it open. Inside lay a medal shaped like a perfect scoop, golden and smooth. For bravery, for work well done, and for asking the best questions, the Golden Sprinkle Medal. Coco bowed her head and felt the ribbon settle around her neck, the medal resting against her bell. It chimed a bright, proud note. Mr. Sprinkle also handed her a tub of Color Question Crunch, packed with care and sealed against the evening air. "Take it home," he said. "Share it with your friends." The bus ride back felt shorter. The driver accepted a small bouquet of clover as a parting gift. The sky, now lavender hour blue, arched over the fields. When Coco stepped through the farm gate, Cluckberta flapped up to greet her, and Professor Bleep peered over his spectacles. "Well," the goat asked, "what did the city teach you?" Coco set the tub on a wooden crate. The animals gathered, forming a half circle of whiskers and snouts and soft noses. Coco removed the lid.
A gentle shimmer rose, as if the ice cream remembered the laughter trapped inside it. She told them everything: the bus, the deliveries, the wind, the choice, the new flavor that changed color with questions and giggles.
Then she served a scoop to each friend. The pig asked, "What does the moon taste like?" And everyone watched as the ice cream turned a thoughtful purple. "Cheese," the sheep decided solemnly, and the scoop flashed gold as laughter bubbled through the barnyard. Coco licked her own spoon and felt the cold spark on her tongue. The sweetness spread like a smile.
She looked at her friends' grass in their mouths,
Straw in their fur.
Stars beginning to prick holes in the sky and felt full in the best possible way. "I couldn't buy it with grass," she said softly. The metal warm against her chest. "I had to earn it," and asking questions
Made the whole journey an adventure.
That night the farm was quiet, except for crickets and the soft chime of Coco's bell when she turned in her stall. The city lights twinkled on the horizon, like sprinkles spilled across a dark cake. Coco yawned, content. Tomorrow there would be new clouds to count, new questions to ask, and she hoped another visit to the city of scoops. Morale. Hard work, not shortcuts, brings the sweetest rewards, and curiosity makes every step of the journey shine.
Thanks for the watching video. Please like and subscribe.